Welcome to Relation Tales. Please like this video and subscribe Relation Tales. We're grateful for each and every one of you. Let us know where in the world you're tuning in from. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. Let's begin. The crashing waves against the golden shores of Avelora Island should have been a soundtrack to bliss. Instead, they sounded like a slow, relentless countdown. As I stepped off the seaplane, the humid ocean breeze wrapped around me like a soft lie. I turned to my wife, the woman I thought I knew, and forced a smile. 30 years, Erin, I said, squeezing her hand. Feels like yesterday. She smiled, but it was faint, hollow, a smile that barely touched her eyes. We've come so far, Noah, she whispered. Maybe it was the exhaustion of travel, maybe it was denial, but I told myself everything was fine, that everything could still be saved. The resort was nothing short of a paradise sculpted by gods. Pearl-white sands, endless turquoise waters, and private villas nestled into swaying palms. As we rode to ours in a quiet golf cart, I found myself daydreaming about how I would surprise her with the ring I had secretly upgraded, the diamond she deserved for enduring the turbulence of life with me. We had survived job losses, the rocky teenage years of our daughter, Layla, and the slow erosion of passion that comes with time. Or so I thought. The first warning sign came as we unpacked. Erin seemed distracted, checking her phone more often than normal, typing out long messages before quickly tucking it away when she caught me glancing. Dinner was awkward. She ordered wine, too much wine, and laughed a little too loudly at jokes from a man at the next table, a stranger with a shark-like grin. But the real bombshell came later that night, on the balcony of our villa, under a sky so full of stars it looked ready to collapse under its own beauty. She poured us each another glass of wine, her fingers trembling slightly, before sitting down across from me. Noah, she said quietly, there's something you need to hear. I leaned forward, heart drumming. What is it? She hesitated, searching my face as if hoping to find the right words etched there. I've fallen for someone else, she said finally, voice cracking like fragile glass. I didn't plan it, but it happened. His name is Travis. The world seemed to tilt sideways. For a moment, all I could hear was the blood roaring in my ears. You're joking, I said, laughing a bitter, disbelieving laugh. She shook her head slowly. I'm not. He's here, on the island. I stared at her, numb. You brought me here, for this? For our anniversary. Her mouth tightened into a defensive line. I didn't plan it like this. But now that we're here, I realize I don't want to live a lie anymore. I wanted to scream, to shatter the wine glass against the wall, to throw the table into the ocean. Instead, I stood up, setting the glass down with mechanical calm. And what exactly do you expect me to do now? I asked, my voice cold. She looked up at me with tired, almost pitying eyes. I want freedom, she whispered, and honesty. Travis and we want to spend time together. Just this week. Then we'll figure things out. A humorless laugh escaped me. You want me to sit here like a good little husband while you celebrate our anniversary with another man? Erin shrugged helplessly. I'm not asking your permission, Noah. I'm telling you what's happening. Something inside me cracked. A dam I hadn't even known existed split open, flooding my veins with a dark, cold resolve. Then you won't mind if I make my own plans, I said quietly. Her brow furrowed. What does that mean? I gave her a smile that had no warmth. You'll find out soon enough. That night, while she was busy sneaking out of Travis' villa, I stayed behind, staring out at the endless, empty sea, plotting a revenge so perfect, so devastating, that Erin would never see it coming. Because love can fade, trust can die, but betrayal demands blood. And I wasn't planning to bleed. The morning sun rose over Avelora, indifferent to the storm it had no idea it had unleashed. Erin returned just before sunrise. Her dress was wrinkled, her hair tousled, and though she tried to hide it, her smile gave her away. She still reeked of betrayal, and worse, she wore it like a badge of honor. She slipped silently into bed beside me, thinking I was asleep. I wasn't. I lay there, breathing slow, measure breaths, pretending. Every second fed the fire growing in my chest. I knew what I had to do. Not scream, not fight, not beg. I would destroy her the way she destroyed us. Quietly, surgically, without a shred of mercy. Later that morning, We sat by the pool. Aaron acted like nothing had happened, sipping fresh juice, commenting about the beautiful weather. Meanwhile, I was texting someone under the table. Jason Wild, my oldest friend, a corporate lawyer who owed me favors, big ones. I typed quickly. Need urgent legal work. Private. Involving marriage and infidelity. Can you call? Jason's reply was almost instant. On it. Sending private investigator team 2. Who's the guy? I didn't answer. Not yet. There was something else I needed to see with my own eyes first. As Erin went for a massage, I followed her discreetly. I wasn't subtle, but I didn't need to be. She was too drunk on adrenaline and guilt to notice anyone but herself. I saw her meet Travis by the water's edge, saw the way he kissed her like she belonged to him, saw her lean into him, laughing the same laugh she used to save for me. But it wasn't just Travis. Standing a few feet behind him was another woman. Petite, sharp-eyed, radiant in a way that demanded attention. And the second Erin's back was turned, Travis kissed her too. I felt a strange chill settle over me. Erin wasn't just betraying me. She was being betrayed, too. That night, I laid the first stone of my revenge. At dinner, I acted as if everything was normal. I joked, complimented Erin's dress, even ordered her favorite wine. Her smile grew stronger by the minute. She thought she had broken me, trained me to accept her betrayal. When dessert came, I excused myself to the bathroom. But instead, I slipped behind the kitchens, found the back hallways that led to the VIP suites. I knocked once, sharply, on a heavy oak door. Jason opened it immediately, dressed not in a business suit, but in casual island clothes. His eyes burned with cold focus. "Everything's ready," he said, handing me a leather folder. Inside were photographs. Erin and Travis, arms around each other. Erin kissing him on the beach. Travis kissing the other woman when Erin wasn't looking. Times, dates, locations, all neatly documented. It was damning. It was beautiful. I spent the rest of the evening crafting the message that would change Erin's life forever. A single email, addressed to Erin, Travis, the other woman, and their employers. Because what Erin hadn't known was that Travis worked for a company with strict moral clauses in their contracts. And the woman? She was married to the regional manager of the very resort we were staying at. Their careers, their reputations, all hanging by a thread I was about to cut. I hit send and smiled for the first time in days. The next morning, chaos erupted. Security guards stormed the resort. Travis was dragged from the breakfast buffet in front of dozens of stunned tourists. Erin watched in horror, her face draining of color when she realized the hotel staff were coming for her next. They escorted her back to our villa, where I was waiting. She burst in, panting, eyes wild. "Noah," she gasped, "they're saying crazy things. That I broke resort rules, that I participated in something illegal." I stood calmly, sipping my coffee. "Oh," I said mildly. "Sounds serious." She stumbled closer. "You have to help me. You're my husband." I tilted my head, pretending to think. "Husband," I mused. "Interesting word choice. Is that before or after you made plans to spend our anniversary in another man's bed?" Her face crumpled. "I made a mistake." "No," I interrupted sharply. "You made choices, over and over, and now it was my turn to choose." I handed her a small envelope. Inside was a one-way plane ticket back home, economy class, non-refundable, and a divorce petition. Her hand shook as she stared at it. "You're serious?" she whispered. "Deadly," I said, stepping past her. "Where are you going?" she cried. "To live a life," I said, not looking back. "One that doesn't include you." As I stepped out into the sun, leaving Erin behind me, forever, the heavy weight on my chest finally lifted. This was just the beginning. She thought she had rewritten our story without my consent. Now, I was writing the ending, and I was going to make sure it would be unforgettable. I didn't go home immediately. Instead, I moved into a sleek apartment in the city, a penthouse high above the noise and mess of the streets below. Floor-to-ceiling windows, leather furniture, silence broken only by the occasional gust of wind against the glass. Perfect. Sterile. Exactly what I needed. Because this wasn't just about leaving Erin anymore. It was about erasing her. I hired a financial strategist, a man known only by the nickname Dagger among corporate circles. He didn't work with emotions. He worked with numbers, and he worked fast. Over midnight calls and encrypted emails, Dagger helped me move assets, liquidate properties, and lock down everything Erin wanted access to. Our joint accounts closed. Her name on my businesses removed. Her access to family investments canceled. Within 3 weeks, Erin Whitmore, not that she would keep that name much longer, went from wealthy housewife to struggling ex-spouse battling foreclosure notices and frozen cards. I even made sure the credit card linked to her favorite boutique was revoked mid-purchase. The footage of her screaming at the store manager would be the cherry on top if it ever leaked online. But money wasn't the only thing I stripped away. I stripped away her image. While Erin had been living in the fantasy of Travis arms, I've been working with Jason and a media consultant to slowly leak certain rumors. Nothing slanderous, nothing actionable, just the truth, the carefully presented, devastating truth. Social media posts from concerned friends about Erin's sudden change in lifestyle. Whispers among her charity circles about her indiscretions abroad. Pictures of Travis with a married resort employee somehow found their way into gossip columns back home, with Erin conveniently appearing in the background of several shots. Suddenly, Erin wasn't just a woman who made a mistake. She was a walking scandal. Invitations to charity galas revoked. High-end friends she once bragged about silent. Corporate wives who once envied her now treating her like she carried a plague. Erin hadn't just lost me. She had lost her world. Meanwhile, I began to rebuild myself. I returned to work at my engineering firm, pouring hours into projects I had once neglected, trying to save a marriage already doomed by betrayal. I got into shape again, running 5 miles before dawn, lifting until my muscles burned and my mind cleared. I reconnected with Layla, my daughter, who had been wary at first, but slowly began visiting again after seeing her mother's true colors splashed across news feeds and whispered behind doors. And for the first time in years, I started living for myself. But the final blow, the one that would truly bring Erin to her knees, required patience, and a plan more personal than anything I'd done so far. I waited 3 more weeks, long enough for Erin to realize her new boyfriend wasn't sticking around once the money ran out. Long enough for her to face eviction notices on the home we once shared. Long enough for her to feel the complete, soul-crushing isolation she had sentenced me to the night she chose Travis. Then I sent the invitation. A simple, elegant card. White linen paper. Gold embossed letters. A night to remember. Hosted by Noah Sterling. Inside, just one line. You're cordially invited to witness the unveiling of a future that doesn't include you. No address. No further details. Just a time. 7 p.m. Saturday. The exact anniversary date of our wedding. She showed up, of course. I knew she would. She couldn't resist. Erin arrived wearing a desperate mask of elegance. An old designer dress she must have fished out of the back of her closet. Makeup layered thick to hide the stress carved into her face. She found herself directed to a sleek event hall downtown, minimalist and cold. At the entrance stood a wall-sized screen, flickering with static. She wasn't alone. Nearly 100 people were there. Our old friends, business associates, investors, even Layla. Everyone she had once paraded herself in front of. They all turned as she walked in, their eyes cool, assessing. A soft gasp rippled through the crowd. She didn't know where to look. And then, the screen lit up. The video played without mercy. Clips of her kissing Travis in secret corners. Security footage from the resort, dancing, drinking, sneaking away together. Photographs of her returning alone to our villa in the early hours of the morning, smirking into her phone. Each frame was stamped with a single, merciless caption. When loyalty ends, so does everything else. The final image stayed longer than the others. A shot of me, standing in my new office, looking strong, alive, and free. Then the words appeared. Introducing Sterling Engineering's newest division, Betrayal Recovery Services, helping others reclaim what betrayal tried to steal. The crowd erupted into polite applause. Not for Erin, for me. She stood frozen, trembling, and when she tried to leave, the final touch awaited her at the door. A single red rose with a note attached. Congratulations. You taught me how to survive betrayal. Here's your legacy. I watched from the balcony above, unseen. Not laughing, not gloating, just finished. It was over. Erin Whitmore had become a ghost. an afterimage of a life that had once been vibrant and was now, finally, extinguished. And I was walking forward, never looking back. The weeks that followed the night to remember event were quiet. For me, at least. Erin's world, however, collapsed spectacularly. Within days, the video made its way into private networks. Whispers about her humiliation at my event spread among every social circle she once ruled. She tried to post an apology online, a shaking video about healing and finding herself. But nobody cared anymore. She wasn't a queen. She was a punchline. One afternoon, as I left my office, I saw Layla waiting by my car. She looked tired, older somehow but determined. "Hey, Dad," she said. I smiled. "Hey, kiddo." We stood in silence for a moment before she finally asked, "Did you really plan all that?" I hesitated. "I didn't destroy her," I said. "She did that to herself. I just made sure she couldn't pretend otherwise." Layla nodded slowly. She understood more than I expected. "I'm not mad," she said softer. I wish it hadn't come to this." "So did I admitted. But sometimes, people choose their own ruin." She hugged me tight. For the first time in years, we stood there, not as broken pieces, but as survivors. Meanwhile, Erin's spiral continued. Travis vanished, ran back to his wife, begged for forgiveness. The resort blacklisted her permanently. Charity boards voted to remove her name from every committee. Even the small boutique stores she loved stopped offering her private client privileges. She had gone from champagne evenings to supermarket aisles, from limousines to city buses. And every step of the way, she walked alone. As for me, I rebuilt. I started traveling again, not to escape, but to explore. Paris, Tokyo, Sydney. Every city a new chapter. Every sunrise a reminder that life wasn't over. At a cafe in Florence, I met Sophia, a woman with laughter like summer rain and a heart untouched by betrayal. It wasn't fireworks at first. It was better. It was peace. One evening, a letter arrived at my office. No return address, but I recognized the handwriting immediately. Erin's. Inside was a short note. Asterisk, "I'm sorry. Truly. I didn't understand what I had until it was gone. I hope one day you find happiness. I wasn't strong enough to be part of it." Asterisk. No anger. No begging. Just regret. I folded the letter once, set it in the drawer, and locked it away. The past belongs behind walls. I sat back, gazing at the city skyline. The life Erin and I built had burned down to ashes. But out of those ashes, I had rebuilt something stronger. Not a second chance. A better life. A real one. And this time, I wasn't looking back. 6 months passed. Long enough for memories to lose their sharp edges. Long enough for pain to turn into a quiet, almost distant lesson. One cold November morning, as I sipped coffee at the corner table of my favorite bookstore cafe, my phone buzzed. It was Jason. "Thought you'd like to know." Erin moved. I stared at the message for a second, then typed back. "Where to?" "Small town upstate. Teaching piano lessons." Keeps to herself. I smiled faintly. A quiet life. A forgotten life. Maybe it was cruel to think so, but some endings aren't tragedies. Some endings are justice. Sophia entered the cafe moments later, carrying 2 muffins and flashing me that easy, effortless grin that still caught me off guard. I stood, taking the tray from her, brushing a kiss against her forehead. "How was the bookstore?" she asked, sliding into the seat across from me. "Dangerous," I teased. "Almost bought 3 more novels I don't have time to read." She laughed, bright and real, the kind of sound I never realized I missed until I found it again. We spent an hour talking about everything and nothing. Plans for a short hiking trip, Layla's upcoming graduation, Sophia's dream of opening a small art studio downtown. Life. Real life. Not one built on appearances. Not one teetering on lies. A life made of honest mornings and quiet victories. Later that night, standing on the balcony of my apartment, I looked out over the sparkling city lights and breathed deep into the cold air. Erin had once told me life was about chasing excitement, no matter the cost. She was wrong. Life is about building something that can survive the storms. And now, finally I had. Not because I sought revenge, though I had earned it. Not because I wanted her to hurt, though she did. But because somewhere along the way, through betrayal, rage, heartbreak, and loss, I found myself again. In the end, Erin became a name I barely thought about, a ghost that wandered somewhere far from the life she could have had. And me? I chose peace. I chose freedom. I chose happiness. Sometimes, revenge isn't a loud, explosive moment. Sometimes, it's simply thriving when they expected you to crumble. And as I stood there, Sophia's arms wrapping around my waist from behind, I realized I didn't need to win. I already had.